Happy birthday!
All right. No, I got it. 27, but not the 27 club. I keep submitting my invitation. I don't want it. I don't want to actually be included in that. But what a legacy I've built. No, I'm just kidding. It's been a couple days out of the studio, and last week we came down. We recorded a little AOHD, but I just I needed more time off. So this is one of the shortest turnaround times for any episode since this thing launched. I don't even know, 2 years ago. So episode 109, I actually hate when I label those episodes, but a couple things that I want to jump into right away in this intro. With me, as always, our producer, AOHD, creator,
Noah.
the lack of titles or too many titles, Gio.
Yo.
No third mic today. If you listen back to, I think it was the last episode 107 or something like that, we talked about with Jared what that third mic role is, what it's going to be, and with ever-changing vibe style, we'll find a spot. If it works out, and if there's any guests or people that have been third mic in the past that you guys really enjoyed, comment down below for me. Let me know who you'd like to hear back more often. We'll try to find that role instead of having a third mic. And we'll talk about how me and this little guy met. But I need to name my new walrus. So hopefully by the end of today's episode, my new pet walrus, which I'm utilizing the table, actually decorating today.
Willie.
Ooh, okay. You know what?
Willie the walrus.
We're not going to walk away with any defined names today, but I already like Willie a lot. I have a couple other walrus stuffed animals that I already have names for, but those are at my apartment, so I wasn't allowed to bring them down because Booth Babe's like, no, I really like the walrus. So one of them is part of my pillows on our bed every time I make it. Another thing that I wanted to start because I am so bad at this, and I think this is a nice way to build up the first episode. So we're going to try a new segment out today before we jump into this show.
A segment by Mamitas?
Segment by Mamacita.
Never mind.
I know. Sunday conversations.
Yes.
So I started to realize, unlike Gio, I'm really good at making sure every single Sunday there's a new episode out for you. However, also unlike Gio, I'm really bad at fan engagement. And I want to preface this really, really quick because the reason why I'm bad is because I try to be so good for you guys. I see comments sometimes and they're so in-depth, they're so specific, and they're so hilarious. No one, that I try to think of the best response, the best reply. And I come up with 3-4 ideas. I'm like, nah, these aren't funny enough. They're not hitting the right point. I'll come back to this later. And then I never go back to the comments. So I'm not showing the love in the comment section myself. However, I wanted to bring in a new little segment where I look through some of these comments and maybe not have a actual reaction or a comment for you guys live on the spot, but at least give you that shout out. So,
did you write that down?
Did I write what down?
What you just said?
That quote?
No, everything you just said?
No, nothing. The only thing I had written down was comments on YouTube.
I'm sitting there just like, it feels like you're reading a script. It's like the way you're talking. He wrote a script.
Okay. From 107, episode 107, which was the connecting comedy with Jared and Noah as third mic. No one commented, "You're welcome, ... your hairiness." Emoji. Oh, emoji. He could have told all 2+ of us Oh my God. To eat your vegetables, or don't be a fool. Wrap your tool, or something Tide Pods are bad. I guess messages to the masses are a bit difficult on the fly. You know what I'm talking about? No one. Thank you for admitting how difficult it is to come up with a catchy, dope quote, like a metaphor. What's something more than a quote, but not a metaphor? It's like a
way of life. I don't know.
like a moral, a life moral.
Yeah.
Is this as exciting as my other intro?
Not yet.
Whatever. Let's get into the episode because we got some things to talk about. I'm already rusty, but I feel like if I hear that intro song, I'll be ready to rock and roll with you guys.
All right.
Want to give me still? Let's get right into it. No, that was a long 6-minute intro. This is theme. Yeah. The intro was bad.
I never expect an intro to be short. I
always go.
There's a reason you do podcasts, and so you don't have to edit everything out.
Yeah. Facts. So I opened up this episode by claiming my new age, 27. Last episode we recorded a couple of weeks before my birthday, and I just got back from Portland yesterday, and I'm officially 27. I feel like a lot of birthdays before this, I was already kind of like feeling older. I feel like this year, this birthday, this past weekend, I don't feel like I felt like the weekend in Portland with Booth Babe and you know some family and friends.
Go to, Maine for that.
Yeah.
How was that, by the way?
It was perfect. It was like the best birthday gift. And
Oh, so it wasn't like your choice. That was like a gift from.
no, I mean, just the fact that we did it. And then everyone, so I went up with Booth Babe. And the first 2 nights we stayed with my brother, my sister-in-law, and their 2 girls, and a friend of me and my brother, his wife, and their daughter. Yeah, we got an Airbnb, which was a small Airbnb, and the whole time my brother kept like saying to us, like, guys, go do what you want. And I don't mind if you guys are going out late. Just to, try to be a little quieter when you get back to the Airbnb, because we don't want to wake the kids up. And yeah, so it was a pretty crowded Airbnb, but I actually loved it. Like one of the things that every time I usually go up to Portland, it's like we go out, we stay out late, we're drinking late, then we wake up late. Now we're not even starting our day till like 11 o'clock, and then the weekend flies by, and I feel like I didn't get enough out. So because these kids are like crying most of the morning, like 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning, I was getting up and just like I also wasn't going to bed like super hungover, especially the first 2 nights, because I don't want to be an absolute monstrosity in front of the girls or even like my brother and my friend or.
But in front of me, it's fine.
Yes.
I just realized I had myself on mute. But in front of me, it's fine.
You know what? I noticed that because there was no spikes earlier when you were talking, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm
Sucks
great.
for you guys, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they got the gist of what I said.
yeah. You talk too much. You're ranting. Boring. Can we move on? Yes.
Yeah,
the usual.
yeah, the usual.
For the rest of the episode, just don't mute yourself. It's just the 2 of us in the room.
Okay, so
yeah. I knew you were gonna do that.
but yeah, so oh shoot, now I lost my question. I distracted myself with needing to do that
So
joke.
we went up with because
Because you went with that whole crew. You went with like basically the family almost.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool though. And was the Airbnb huge or was it like a tiny Airbnb?
It was small. Like me and Booth Babe slept on a pull-out couch, and upstairs there were 2 bedrooms, but they weren't huge, but they were big enough for like a queen size bed and a crib. But that's it. So it was definitely tight for them upstairs, but it worked out really well. And like I said, I was like waking up early and starting my morning. And as you know, I've been doing the daily walks as well as daily journals. So that was a fear of mine going into this weekend is
That
usually I like just sleep in and then like I want to go do stuff. And then I wasn't going to find time to go on my walks or whatever. But because they're waking me up so early and they're still like 2 hours before they're ready, we found out on the weekends, almost everything opens at like 11 or 10, except for like a couple brunches, which is like still like 8 a.m. So it gave me enough time to get up, do my thing in the morning, come back, journal, whatever, then go out with them and you know, spend our day. And it was so much fun. Especially,
I have a question too, though, because it's like, I'm sure that everyone always, like the people who do listen to this all the time, like know that you go to Maine quite often. Yeah. But what is like your favorite? Why do you like to go to Maine specifically? Like, is there something in Maine that you like, or like food wise? Is it like
or
anything?
Every single restaurant in downtown or like really in the city, Portland, is not a chain. It's just like a great restaurant, all great food, great drinks. Every single time I had gone up, literally until this one, really, I'm going up to eat a lot of food and drink a lot of beer, distilleries. So there's a couple spots that I'm like, these are always on the itinerary. I'm always going to go to Taco Escobar. I'm always going to go to Maine Craft. I almost always have to stop at Bissell Brothers. That's one of my favorite like breweries. What?
I was about to ask. I was like, what is that?
Yeah, dude. Bissell Brothers Brewery.
Ah, BBB Triangle.
So I actually got this shirt this weekend. And then another thing that I feel like we do a lot too is like just shopping. Me and Booth Babe especially like are going to, there's a lot of like local vendors, local like artists and stuff. So I got this new hat, which you've seen this artist before on my big orange knit hat. Got a couple new hats from, I believe it's a girl. I could be wrong, but Flynn is the artist. So got a couple new hats.
Also on the side of your hat.
But this time, this time was like the first time that I went up and did just some of the other touristy things. Like we went to a park. It was supposed to be like a lighthouse park, but we walked around. I pushed my niece on the swing for a little bit. We just hung out, enjoyed the sun. It was one of the best weekends this year. So it was nice to like just enjoy Portland for the other things that I've never really done, like, you know, going brewery hopping or food after food. Like we go to lunch and then we go to a place to get a drink and like a pretzel, and then we go to another place, get another snack and another drink, and then it's dinner time, then we get dinner, and then we go out for maybe one more drink, and then we go, like, that's usually how it is. This time we actually, like, you know, just spent time. We hung out at the Airbnb on like Saturday for like 3 or 4 hours and just bullshitted with everyone that was up there. It was just such an awesome. What?
Did you get any lobster?
I ended up getting lobster for my birthday dinner. So Sunday was my birthday, Mother's Day. We stayed an extra night, Booth Babe and I, because, you know, it was nice to spend that time with them, with everyone we went up with. But, you know, me and Booth Babe want to have our time. So
yeah, you're alone.
So pretty much all day Sunday, we, you know, hopped from place to place. We kind of kept it chill. We went back to the hotel for a little bit. And watched the Celtics, and then she thought of this place, High Roller, that I really like, but I would never have thought of as like my birthday dinner. And I got a surf and turf burger. They loaded that thing with so much lobster. It was
you had it in burger form.
Yeah, it was like a burger with like I thought it was gonna be like you'd see the lobster meat, but it wasn't. Dude, there was
they had it as like a patty.
2 full claws of lobster. It was like a regular burger, like a lettuce, tomato, onion, whatever, cheese, and then like chunks of lobster claw, chunks of a lobster tail, like almost as if it was like 3 other patties. Like, it was so freaking good.
Heard.
So that was pretty much most of the Portland trip. And you know, just spending that time with Booth Babe and everything, like she really made it special. I made a huge deal about it every single like birthday and Christmas. Like, don't give me gifts. I'm an adult. I keep claiming like I don't like it, and then I realized like because Booth Babe was really good at giving gifts. I was like, I wish I got gifts. So like an idiot, because she literally says to me like the day before driving up, she's like, I got you what I think you wanted for your birthday. And I'm like, what? Well, you said you wanted nothing, and you said you hate cards, because I hate the commercialism of cards. It's like, if you're going to do something, like, write your own message on a card. Like, don't just buy a card and say, this is how I feel. I think it's stupid.
I think I used to do that as a kid. Nowadays, I do the cards because they're more convenient, and then I'll write my own message in there. But as a kid, I remember I used to get on like the Microsoft apps, and I forgot which app it was exactly, but I would create my own.
You could just do it on a
card.
Google Doc even.
Well, I'm sure now, but like back in the day.
Oh, Microsoft Word or whatever. Yeah.
But like, so I'd just create my own little cards and then
Nice.
just do all that and just make jokes out of them.
Yeah.
Even like for like the in school Valentine's days.
Because you could be a lot more personable on those cards. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so she's like, yeah, I got you nothing, but you're not allowed to pull your credit card out once. I'm like, that's not how this is gonna go. So the first day we got up there, we walked into this little shop that we love, where we got the Flynn hats, and she saw a hat. She's like, you have to get this. And then she saw another one, and she's like, you look so good in this. And then there's one that I liked. She's like, I'm getting you all three. Happy birthday. I'm like, you coming up with me, and like the way everyone like wasn't just constantly like getting mad at me or like doing that, like, oh, this is typical wALiE. Like they all like, you do you, and like just included me in all the things. Booth Babe made it so special in all the other ways. I'm like, this is what I meant by like a birthday in Portland. Like, I don't need a gift in front of me. Like, just give me that quality time. And I think I'm so thankful for everyone that.
Yeah, he's just so happy that he didn't have to celebrate it with his mom, is all I'm hearing.
Yes. No, I took my mom out the Thursday before I took her out to dinner.
Yeah.
And then, and of course I have to at least call my mom on Mother's Day, and then she didn't pick up, and then called me like I called her again like an hour later, and my dad answered her phone. I'm like, what is she doing? Oh, I don't know. She's talking to someone on the phone. I'm like, can you have her call me back? And then like 3 hours later, she finally calls me. I'm like, Happy Mother's Day. Like,
AKA, they were both happy that all the kids were out of the house and they were taking their time.
Exactly.
You might have a little sibling sooner or later. No. You're welcome for putting that image in your head.
Thank you. No. Gross. Yeah, so it was a good trip. And then we left Monday. We both took the day off, and we got back at like 2:30. So like, you know, when you wrapping up a vacation, you get back home late and you still got to unpack, you still got all that shit to do. It's like, because we got home so early, like we just kind of got to enjoy a day off. It was perfect vacation, right amount of time up, not too long, not too short. Got to do all the things that I like to do up in Portland, but yeah.
Heard. I also got a text from you that you finally started Demon Slayer.
Yes. Thank you. I didn't know how to like transition out of this birthday stuff.
It's okay, because I am more interested in that.
Yeah.
I will gladly help you.
So I watched season 1 last year based off of your recommendation. You showed me like 2 scenes from the thing. You're like, trust me, it's really good. And I'm like, it was the first anime that I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a chance. Loved it. At the time, season 2 was on Hulu, which is also the movie or whatever for Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get into it. So every single time, and then it came on Netflix. The season 2 was on Netflix. I'm like, I kept putting it off. I'm like, I don't think I'm into it. I think I'm over. I like the first season. Last week, when we were just kind of like body doubling, chilling, because I'm like, I don't have what it takes to do content today. You started to tell me about the current season. Season 4 is like airing every week or something like that right now.
Technically season 3, but I guess to people like you, season 4, yes.
Season 4 for Netflix viewers. And you're like, it's so good. So that night, or even just talking to you, I was like, all right, I think I can give it a try, and just know that if I get through what I kept watching, like I kept watching the first episode and like, this is so boring, it'll get good. Or it won't, and then I'll watch season 3.
Yeah.
So I started watching it, and holy crap! So this isn't spoilers. Can we talk about it?
It doesn't matter anymore. That's been out for like
All right.
at least a year or
Season
two now.
2, the train arc. If you watch the movie, which you recommended watching the movie because the season
okay.
has a lot of filler, and it has like the intro, outro, like skip intro and skip outro, and then they always like recap, and so there's a lot of filler. But that's why I watched it, because sometimes if I'm watching it on TV, like if I just watch the movie, eventually I'm gonna open up my phone and just like stop paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
So then when those parts come up, I'm like, oh shit, I wasn't paying attention. Then I'll pay more attention, or just to like allow me to pace myself, so I didn't binge watch it all the way through and like do it in one night where like I already forget by the next day like what the whole arc was. It like allowed me to watch it all. I finally finished it. I think I finished it last night. It was so fucking good.
Right? Like
the
so good.
I realized I thought I was getting past the first episode when I kept trying. I didn't get past the first demon. The demon that like
the one that he sees in
the train station.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to when he meets that first one that like the grandmother and the granddaughter are like selling whatever. Mm-hmm. Tasty.
Oh yeah. They're bento boxes.
Bento boxes. And so then once I got through that whole episode, I was like, wait, that was actually really good. Watch the next one. The train demon was way like just the concept of it, like
the way he was able to put people into basically a dreamland of death,
which is something that I think the writer of that manga, the creator of that manga, does so interesting with demons. The way they get, he writes in these demons' powers, and also the train art, like the actual train demon, the motivation and the reason behind trying to do this, like get to this ultimate form of being a trained demon so he can essentially kill a lot more souls in one go, but like how it takes longer to get them all there, and how he's doing it so that he can impress the first, what's the first demon's name? Muzan. So he's like, so I can become an upper whatever.
Yeah.
Upper number?
He was already in upper rank. I think
he was an upper rank, but he wasn't.
He was the lowest upper rank.
Okay, so to be, his whole thing was like, I want to become an upper rank. So then I'm getting what I know is like close to the end, and then I'm like, wait, they're about to defeat him. They defeat him, but then like not really. And then there's the whole, because it was like just the hand, like he just cut off the head.
Oh, that part, yeah.
And then it's like, then he realized, so him and his Izuko,
what?
The two swords.
Oh, shoot!
I'm
now
still really bad. I'm still learning the names. Like I really liked the
boarhead.
Story. Who?
The boarhead kid.
Boarhead.
Yeah.
What's this?
What?
Izuko?
No.
All right. Tell me the names.
I'll get you the names. Give me a second. Because now my brain's blanking out. You know how ADHD works. It's just like, no, what are you doing? You're stupid. And then you're so stuck on the stupid part that it's just like, my brain's gone.
So then he finally like gets the other guys awake, and Zenitsu.
Yep. Can't forget that one.
That was a cool. I wish they played more
inside
into
the
that.
train.
Where it's like, so the demons like put them under a spell so that they fall asleep and have dreams. But because his power, like his breathing, only happens when he's asleep.
Inosuke, you're talking about.
Inosuke. So like the scene where the guy is tied to his dream, or the kid's tied to his dream, he's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Oh, with the scissors?
I'm the only one that's supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. And they're just like, dude, it's so creepy. It's such a cool arc. And then like, even when, the Hiroshima, what is the flame guy, the main guy? The one that the whole arc is about. The flame guy.
Fucking what now? What? I don't know why my brain's just blanking out. No, his name's not Hiroshima.
It's not his name. That's his title. Is one of the lead demon slayers. Is Hiroshima.
No, you're getting there one day.
What is it? What word am I trying to say?
It's hang on, Hashira.
There
we go.
So his, like, he gets up and like is keeping that demon from actually like infecting all the people, knowing he's not killing them.
Just going through the train,
he's
and just
like
slicing it up.
them.
Yeah.
And then Zenitsu's also doing whatever carts, and then like the other two are going to actually kill the demon, and it like the
Rengoku, you're talking about.
Who?
Rengoku.
So like then they finally defeat it, and I'm like, I thought there's a whole nother like 2 episodes left. Like, is there really like 2 episodes of like them explaining the training, or like, and then it just seems like just a random demon.
Oh, Akaza?
Yeah, it just
that one I remembered so quick.
It did,
I was like yeah, that
like
guy.
when they first see him, I just was like, oh, this is one of those demons that was on the train earlier that just killed a couple people. And then I'm like, they're really like bleeding out this stare down. So and then they start going back and forth like, oh, it's about, you know, I'm going to kill you, or I want to kill all the people. And then the other guy's like, I'm going to defend in every last spirit. I'm like, all right. So he's a little more important than just a demon. And then they drop the bomb. It's like, he's the
upper rank 6.
Is it upper rank? That's what they're called. So then I was like,
he's one
the
of
other
my
guy was a
favorites.
whole train. So knowing that it's a very well written show, I knew we didn't know the full like spectrum of this guy's powers. But like
the second he started fighting,
even before he started fighting, there's immense anticipation built up. I'm like, what is this battle going to be?
Mm-hmm.
And then as it's going, I'm like, there's no way they kill off one of the coolest characters so far.
Oh, Rengoku.
And then they're battling, and I'm like, is that really what this movie is about? Like this story, this train arc is about, is like how awesome this guy is. I'm like, how does he get out of this? Does Nezuko go, not Nezuko. Who's the main guy?
Oh, Tanjiro?
Tanjiro. Does Tanjiro go help him eventually? Like, how does he help him? Like, what is going on? And the battle sequence. And then he's like just about at his final breath or like whatever, his last stance. And then the guy like stops fighting him. Is like, to even see that demon arc of like, no, I'm here for the challenge. I'm here for the challenge. Cause like up until that point, every single time he was like, become a demon so we can fight for the rest of our lives. I'm like, yeah, he's just saying that, just like whatever. He's just beating him. And then when he actually stopped fighting him and just like, it's like, oh man.
Yeah. Like it was literally like, it gets excited about the fighting.
That moment, like it gave so much character development immediately to that demon. Like it made that demon so well written. And he's just like, technically just an upper 6. Like what?
Just
like,
wait till the next season.
Oh my gosh. So then them battling it out, I was like, I really thought for a while, I'm like, oh, he's going to escape. He's going to stay. I'm like, no, I think if this story arc is going the direction I'm watching, where this guy's probably going to die at the end, in his final breaths, I bet he's going to kill him. And then even seeing, I'm like, does that not count? Because he sliced up first, like missed the neck. Then he slices like halfway down the neck and is like just about has him. And then like Tanjiro goes to finally help him, and he like breaks away. Just he's like ripped through his like torso,
and
he's like
held it in there with his torso,
healing or whatever, and like holding it with his like open torso and his hand, and like I'm like, it was so intense. Like the scene of 2 guys just like holding each other back, not much movement. There's some like graphical like shaking and stuff. Not a lot of movement. It was so intense. I'm like, this is more intense than a Michael Bay movie. I'm like, what the fuck? It was crazy. And I just like really was like, no, this can't be this close to being over. Like, we're not in the last episode here. So like the whole arc, like it is not just okay to kill off important, cool characters, but it's...
And I think that's why I like this show, because it's like, in a lot of shows, it almost, like especially anime, it almost feels like they're afraid to kill off loved characters.
Yep.
And they never kill them off, right?
Well, you see it with the Marvel. I think it's what a lot of people are getting annoyed with Marvel. It's like, they stop just finding ways to like kill off characters, because they're like, we never know if we want to bring them back. So then they kill off a character by not like showing the full death, or the way they're killed off, it's like, well, some Infinity Stone will give a power to give it back.
They killed off Iron Man.
They did, but
I think that's
there's already like rumors and stuff about like.
Well, I think that it's going to be a different Iron Man. It's not going to be.
Okay, it's not going to be
Robert Downey Jr. Yeah,
but
it's because they opened up the multiverse, so it's like now there's plenty of Iron Men that they could go with, and then there's also the Iron Heart, which is the girl.
Yeah. Is that his daughter?
No.
Is that the arc? No. I just asking from the comics. I don't know what the is that female Iron Man actually like part of the comics like before Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay. That was an add in after. But one of the things that we were talking about, and this is kind of trying to wrap up our Demon Slayer. Any other questions or anything else that I didn't add in that
How did you feel when he did die though?
Oh, dude. That the scene where he's just talking to Tanjiro and he's just like, nope.
And everyone's just crying.
And Tanjiro's like, no, you're gonna breathe. You're gonna be like, you know a move, you know something to do. And he's like, no.
Mm-hmm.
And then even Boarhead guy after he dies, he's like, he's
we
crying.
Gotta train.
But he's like, he is bringing back the point. He's like, he just told you, Tanjiro, and me that we can do this. We are the next. Like, we have to believe in ourselves. So, like, reiterating it, but also, like, super emotional, like, trying to be a tough guy and, like, not cry, but, like, he did. And so, like, dude, that whole scene, usually, like, that part of a movie, like, if it's a Marvel movie or, like, a superhero movie or whatever, starts to bore me off where it's like, all right, the rising action has ended. Like, this is it. But I was watching that. Dude, Demon Slayer is just so good. I think
that movie was the first time in a long time that I had, like, gotten emotional from a show. Like, I was just like, oh my God, especially like, cause I didn't really watch the, episodic version, but I remember the movie version. I was sitting there like choking up.
I can see how that.
Yeah.
If I watched that
like,
movie straight through.
Yeah. I was like choking up, like eyes are watery. Like I could already feel tears coming down. I was just like, fuck, this got me.
Dude.
And it just like that energy is going to continue the rest of the fucking show so far. Like, I'm telling you right now, that movie, well, first off, the final fight with, like, Tanjiro and the spider guy, like, the lower rank guy, I think that was the start of, like, where everyone was like, oh, Demon Slayer's hype.
Oh, okay.
Right? That movie was the start of, like, Demon Slayer is the shit, and it hasn't stopped being the shit. Like, you're only going to be excited as you continue watching.
You know what I am sad about with how awesome that show is? Like, the story is incredible. All of this backstories, all the characters are so well written. Their character arcs, their character development, everything is so powerful, so well written. It reminds me of way back in the day with Game of Thrones when it was first coming out. And it was just such a good show that I would recommend that to my mom, knowing my mom doesn't like kings, queens, action, dragons, fantasy, this, that. But it was a good show for anybody to watch. And
that's why I recommended Demon Slayer for you. And
people eventually did hop on the Game of Thrones train. And something similar was like Ozark, I felt like Ozark wasn't like, anyone's go-to type of TV series, but the characters are so well written that is like, it's a good show for just about any viewer. I think Demon Slayer is that same arc, but I think in being an anime, it's never going to get that, like,
oh, you are wrong.
That demographic, like, range. Like, my mom and dad won't watch that. I couldn't convince them to.
I don't know. Like, I think, for me, like, I think Demon Slayer is one of those shows. Like, there's a few anime that I think breaks that bound, right?
I feel like...
I think Demon Slayer is one of those things. Like, if you were to sit down and show them Demon Slayer, right? At first, they may be, like, a little weird because they're going to be like, oh, this is a kid's show. And then the second that they see the seriousness of even, like, that first episode when, like, everyone's just dead.
But I don't think I could get my parents to that point.
I don't know. I think because, like, for me, my mom doesn't watch anime either, right?
Right.
But there's been times where I'll be watching, like, either Demon Slayer or My Hero or something like that, and there'll just be a scene that she walks in on, and she'll be encapsulated in the moment. She'll sit down and start watching. And my mom's not an anime fan at all.
See, and I think...
And I think it's just those moments, like, and it's similar to what I always tend to do for everybody, right? And it's always the way I tend to find my anime anyway, is I'll show them a scene that's just, like, epic, right?
Yep.
And I'll be like...
That's how you got me. You showed me one of the spider... Oh, what you showed me when Nezuko first does, like, the blood.
Yeah.
Flames.
So, like, for me, what I'll tend to do is I'll show them a hype moment, and I'll be like, you need to watch this show, right? Or a moment where I feel like this is going to connect with them, and I'll be like, you need to watch this show. That almost pushed me away
when you first did that.
Really?
Because I was like, well, if that's, like, a cool scene, I don't really get it just watching it.
Because that scene is hype, but the ones that came after was way better.
Right.
And that's the reason why I was just like, I don't mind showing you this part.
Right. But I didn't know that. I was like, oh, this is the hype scene. There's so much more to that. Even the scene that you show me, like when I actually watched it, I was like, oh wait, this is the scene. Oh, but now I understand how important this scene is.
And it still felt epic.
Yes.
And it didn't take away. So that's why I was like, I don't mind showing that episode. So it's like, I think that if you ever want to show anyone a show, I won't even like go too deep. I'll give like little context things that like you may need at most, but more times than not, I'm just like, watch this scene, take what you want from it, go watch the show.
Yeah, and now I'm a huge Demon Slayer fan. But I think with my parents, they won't give it a serious try because it's an anime.
I think that
like if I try to make them watch episode 1, they'd be like, no.
Yeah, no, it's gonna that's one of those things.
I think
that's
live action needs to be made in order.
Oh hell no! Don't you?
I don't. Oh, I agree. I don't want it to. That's what I was saying. Like I dislike the fact that like in order to make someone like my parents watch it, it would need to be live action.
Nah, like I guess I get.
What you're saying, I agree. I think it would be the worst thing to do.
But I think that a lot of people, like when it comes to anime in general, they automatically just assume like it's a kids show, right?
Well, that's what I mean. I think that's why I was able to finally convince them Game of Thrones.
Yeah, like, and you convinced them Game of Thrones. It wouldn't be much of a difference with it. Like, for example,
I do think it is that much of a difference. That's my point.
Like, the fact that it broke numbers.
True.
Like, like in the box office, not even like just as an anime alone. It broke box office numbers. I'm like, I don't know. I see that as like it's good enough where it's catching more than just anime fans' attentions.
Another hurdle that I think with my parents that I would find is, should I recommend sub, dub, or both?
For me,
for my parents,
your parents, like that's what I'm saying. Like for me, I think dub. Like as much as I think
dub is the way to go too.
Yeah, like because
they've watched other dub shows.
For new anime fans or like anybody that's not used to reading subtitles, I just recommend dub. As much as I don't like to watch it in dub with certain shows,
right?
Like, I think that there's certain shows, and like it's not the worst. Like Demon Slayer in dub isn't the worst. It's just I like the voices better in sub.
Well, you were telling me this the other day where the sub is better because the voice actors on that show do a lot better with the emotion. And this is kind of why I like the sub dub, because I feel when I'm watching the sub and I'm reading the subtitles, sometimes the subtitles don't line up with the dub. Like they're saying different words.
Because the English ones, they changed it up a bit.
But that's how I get myself interested when in moments that I'm kind of getting bored, is like just kind of pointing out like the comedy of it, how like it's funny, or I love the almost translation of it, or lack of, I should say, because I bet if I understood the culture of like why they would need to say something, or maybe just because it's in the manga, you need to know what they say. But the scene that like I'm referring to most recently is every time Rengoku is eating the bento box, he just yells, just him. Tasty.
That's just his personality.
Like 7 times in like 30 seconds. Tasty, tasty. Yep. Dude, Booth Babe got so annoyed. Like that is so annoying. Like walking by
and that was the thing. Like they were building up his character as like this exuberant, like over like. Just, I guess, over exuberant, like kind of guy.
Pulled him back so serious and so like.
Yeah. So like they were making him like they're over dramatizing his personality.
Yeah.
To show you a little more of his personality, and like I think that was okay, and like that anime will tend to do that at times, but and then like also lets you know that like when he needs to draw in, he's drawn in, but it's just like they were creating a character that you could essentially love, even past the like obnoxious moments.
Right. Yeah. So another part that I really like having the sub and the dub for is the other like mistranslations. One of the ones that I noticed happen a lot when Tanjiro is doing moves, every sword move is like, whistling water or, something hard. Like almost every move is a different move. There's some repeat moves, of course, but essentially every move is a different move. But someone who doesn't, like, in the manga doesn't have as many moves, like Boarhead guy, dude, we should figure out his name. Zuko? Inosuke. I was so close. I saw the spelling on the thing.
There's no Z.
And it's an S, but I'm dyslexic, so I get a pass. So like he had like essentially his moves were, Rising Fang level 2, Rising Fang level. So
that's because
that's the translation, I bet.
No, well, it's not even just that, but like I don't know if it's gotten that far, but I'm pretty sure they said it in the season 1, but he doesn't have a teacher. Like he didn't have someone who taught him. Like he taught himself those moves just living in the wild.
Right.
He's I think one of the few demon slayers ever to create their own style.
That's right. Yeah. Now I did forget about that when I was watching it.
He's the only beast breathing type.
True. Which last thing on Demon Slayer, because I still gotta watch. You hinted at, and I don't want to necessarily overtly spoil, but I kind of want to know what you can tell me. You made a mention about something that has kind of been like they weren't trying to hide it. It was kind of like an obvious Easter egg through the first 2 seasons that you get to learn more about. They actually like go into the detail. And when I was watching season 2, there was 2 things I texted you, and I was right on one of them.
Were you?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember you being right.
Not right in the detail, but it was that thing. So the first thing I said is the obvious thing that he is a water swordsman.
Yeah,
what is it called? Water breather.
Yeah, no.
But that wasn't it. That is just established. That wasn't like a vague detail that they go explore more. The other one that I pointed out or noticed, because they were saying no black swordsman, or is that what it's called?
That's right.
No black swordsman has ever become a Hashira.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So my guess was it's something to do with the black sword, like what the black sword actually means. Is that what they go in detail about?
They do go in detail about that as well, but that's not necessarily it either. It's just like they look at it as unlucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or is it the chosen one? That's kind of what I was.
I mean,
but they explain why it's the chosen one.
They'll explain more about what the black sword is.
Is Tanjiro the chosen one? Is that like?
There's no chosen one.
That's the other part that I love about Demon Slayer. Like, I'm also rewatching Star Wars, which I want to transition to in a minute, where it's like there's the main character who is the chosen one. Mm-hmm. But especially on that train arc season or movie, the whole thing, it's like Tanjiro's not... Like, I kept thinking, like, Tanjiro would save Rengoku, or Tanjiro would be the one who broke the spell and woke everybody up. But Nezuko was essentially the one who broke the spell, woke up Tanjiro, and then Tanjiro didn't even wake up the others. I forgot how I think they all kind of got woken up in a different way, more or less. But it wasn't necessarily Tanjiro that, like, saved them.
Yeah.
And he doesn't always save...
Zenitsu never woke up.
True. They say he's still sleeping today.
We wish.
So,
but you'll love him even more the next season, but continue.
I love how it's like, yeah, you're still in training until like essentially the end of it where Rengoku was like, no, I'm I'm going to be dying very soon, and you are going to be the next.
Well,
the
he wants
group
him
of you are going to be the next generation of Demon Slayer. Like,
Yeah.
that was so powerful. So, right way to watch season 2 or a movie. You think the movie?
I still think the movie. Like, I think that the episodes weren't bad. Like, one thing that I always find at a fault with a lot of the shows that do the movie, and because that became a trend, it's like they'll do the movie and then they'll make it episodic, is sometimes the episodic will be worse than the movie. And it's just like, then why do it at all, right?
True.
And I think the only times where...
they must do it because of, like, commercialism. Just, like, it's the new trend to do, like, bingeable.
Probably. I don't know. But I think that personally, that movie, they didn't do like they added a few things right to the episodic one that weren't in the movie.
Sure.
But it didn't take away from how good it was. It was still good, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, I've seen stuff like, for example, in Dragon Ball Z, they redid a couple of the movies, and the show version of the movie was terrible.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Or there's other anime that do
live
the
action
exact
was
same.
so...
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
I feel like that could be a cool one if they did it right. You don't think they could do it right?
I don't think there's ever gonna be, like, there's no live action anime.
A good anime is good because of the
things that they
graphic on the anime.
can't do. Yeah, the things you cannot do in live action. Like, there's no live action anime version, like, thing that I've ever seen that I've ever been like, this was good. Every single time that I've watched it, I was like, this was trash.
Do you have hopes for
Avatar?
Avatar.
I do.
I do too.
And the only reason I do is because the actual creators of the show are working on it too on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, and there's so much hype around it.
Yeah.
That if this does not do good, no one will ever watch a live action anything ever again. Because it's just like, at that point,
I kind of hope it does really well because of that. Like, I don't want.
That is the only thing I have hopes for.
I want to beat the stigma because I think there's a lot of possibilities.
Then, like, Avatar, I don't even necessarily see as, like, Avatar, I can see being done good live action. Mm-hmm. But there's certain things like Demon Slayer, it's just too dramatic, too many flips, too many, you know what I mean? Like, where it's just like, there's so much, like, could you imagine that scene, for example, with Rengoku with a fist through him and, like, trying to chop through the demon's head?
And as I said, like, that, the anticipation of how still that frame was,
it would not feel as epic
right.
in a live action.
Right.
You'd have to make that moment go fast.
And Demon Slayer, graphically, the last thing I want to say on that is, like, it was so cool how they took moments to make it really feel like it was a page of manga. Like, they just left it still. They just said, nope, this is from the manga. And then there's also times where, like,
the fluidity,
the environment was, like, almost like a real picture. And then it was just, like, some of the characters were, like, the animated. But it was so well, like, it was like a combo of, like, really good CGI and, like, you know, the anime character. But it didn't, like, I thought that would clash, but it, like, fused so well, so clean. So
just wait till the next season. You're gonna come back and be like, dude.
So comment down below, movie or season. Also, sub or dub?
For that one, I still say sub.
Sub. I now want to go back and watch it sub because of what you said, especially the emotion behind the characters. I do both. I really like the sub.
Tanjiro's voice, like I know that, like, some people don't like the other two, like Inosuke's and Zenitsu's voice in sub, right? Because they think it's, like, annoying. But for me, I think that's what adds to their character. Whereas, like,
have you listened to
the dub? Yeah.
So you know what
I know what the dub sounds like. Yeah. Because I have friends that I'll, like, when I'm trying to get them into a show, I'll watch the dub with them.
Yeah.
So I know what it sounds like. But I prefer the sub. Like, I don't think Demon Slayer's dub is the worst. I've heard worse dub, but I think that the sub is better. Especially, like, Tanjiro's voice, it's, like, very fitting, and, like, that voice actor, I think, kills it each time. Personally.
I like Tanjiro's in that. I do think Boarhead Inosuke is annoying. Like, the voice actor for that is annoying, especially in some of the scenes where it's like I know he's supposed to be more of a comic relief on that show, but
Both him
there's
and
times
Zenitsu.
where the emotion behind his voice doesn't match
Like you're
the
talking about in
intensity
dub?
or like the comedy
You're talking about like in the dub?
in the dub. Yeah.
In the sub, his voice is more of just like this raspy guy, whereas like in the dub, it almost feels
He's
like
always like overly animated and
and even in the sub, he's always overly animated, but like his voice fits better for that overly animated, I think, in the sub. Whereas like in the dub, for me, it sounds too like back of the throat, nasally and bouncy. Like it's just but like with a rasp, and that voice, personally, I don't care for.
All right, real quick transition
To Star Wars?
into the Star Wars, because Booth Babe hasn't watched the Star Wars. She
Ever?
says she thought she had seen a couple, maybe one or two, but definitely not all of them. This time last year, I had never seen Harry Potter, so she got me to watch all the Harry Potters with her. She's a huge Harry Potter fan. Potterhead, I think they're called. And how we watched it was a cool little role. Is rather than trying to pick a show or whatever on Netflix, just watch a big franchise, a big trilogy or whatever back, and then just watch it like you're watching a television show. So like if you have an hour one night to watch, part of episode 1, watch part of episode 1, finish it the next day. Like, so that's kind of how we pace ourselves through. So far, we've only finished the first trilogy, or I should say the original trilogy, but that was a common thing because I'm introducing her to Star Wars, and I want her to like it. I had very low expectations, and she's enjoyed it a lot more than I anticipated. So I'm getting even more back into it. I'm super excited about it. I think the right way to rewatch or to watch Star Wars the very first time is the order that they came out. So the original trilogy, the prequels, and you could stop there, but then the sequels.
Well, I think, yeah, because, I mean, at that point, it starts to get all like, why did it go from 4K to like 240? You know what I mean? Like, not that it is, but like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, it starts feeling weird because it's just like, you're watching, like, say if you were to watch.
You've watched all of the...
I've watched all of the original.
And prequels?
Yeah. And the prequels, yeah.
Okay.
And then I watched the first Star Wars.
Force Awakens.
Yeah, of the newer ones.
Yeah.
I watched snippets of the final one, like number 8, but
They're good, but I
didn't care for them.
That trilogy should not be part of the Skywalker trilogy. It should not be the Skywalker saga. That's a cool trilogy I feel like they didn't need to infuse it into the prequels and the originals.
Now I'm like confused on like if they're gonna even continue, because it's like she's supposed to be the last Jedi, then
no, she's not the last Jedi.
I could have swore they said she was that she was the last Jedi.
I don't even think she's a Jedi.
That even the title of the movie?
I'm pretty sure it ends with she's not a Jedi. Sorry. Blue's not gonna watch this back.
She is not gonna watch this back.
So I wanted to know the best first way, and I think we both agree, first way to watch it through is the way they came out.
Yeah, even the movie is called The Last Jedi.
We can. This is gonna be my Demon Slayer. Like I will break it all down. Like
okay, sounds good. I'm fine with that.
I know what your point is, but so I think it's those. I think it's originals, prequels, and then sequels. I think it tells you the story arc, because if you watch the first time you watch through, if you watch it episodically, you get to see the story, but there's not the anticipation with Darth Vader. But you start to learn this character, Darth Vader, and if you're watching the originals, the whole time you're like, I want to know more about Darth Vader. So then the prequels telling the story of Anakin turning Darth Vader, like, is actually exciting. And then all the other stuff that comes along the way, like all the other side stories, side plots, etc. That's the right way. Let me know down below the right way to watch it the first time for Star Wars. I think the best way to watch it, a second, third, fourth, whatever time, is
in,
episodic.
Like, yeah.
You have to watch it. Like, because then it's like, all right, now I know all the things, and you probably forget a lot of the parts as you're watching it back. But then you get to see the whole story arc come together, and it's like, wow, that's really cool.
And now there's also all the in-betweens with all the Disney shows and blah, blah, blah.
Which I told myself I'm never going to watch, and like I got bored after like the second season of Mandalorian, but I got back into all of them. The only one I haven't seen is the Han Solo movie, and I'm not interested in that.
I watched the Mandalorian because everyone kept hyping it up. And I'll be honest, if I had other things to watch, I probably wouldn't have watched it.
Season 1 is a really cool, like a show for anybody. I would that's a show that like, you don't have to be a Star Wars fan to enjoy that. I thought it was good.
I didn't.
Not
care
a
for
great
it.
one. I'm not saying just a
Yeah.
Demon Slayer, Game of Thrones, and none of that.
Mhm.
But I thought season 1 was really good. Season 2 was really, if you fell in love with season 1, then you really like season 2. Season 3, you have to be like a Star Wars fan. There's like, I feel like there's almost too much added into it after the fact. Like
And
when they start like bringing in other Mandalorian groups, other clans, it's like.
And I've been watching, like I've watched up like this whole new season and everything like that. And like at this point, I'm just watching it because I've watched so much, and I'm just like, fuck it, right? But like, it's not one of my favorite shows. But I will say personally, have you ever played like The Force Unleashed back in the day?
I used to be obsessed with that, but I never played it.
Okay, so
And it's like a game like Skyrim or whatever, where I will never play it, but I would love watching someone play it.
Yeah, so The Force Unleashed is all about like this one character.
Yeah, I watched on YouTube all the.
Oh, you've watched
scenes.
all the cutscenes?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That, I think if they did a movie like that for Star Wars, all the hype for Star Wars will
but
go
when
up.
Disney bought it, that got removed from canon.
I know that got removed.
That's so
yeah,
like.
but I'm just saying,
you're
like,
right.
if they did a movie like that
Mhm.
for Star Wars, that would be way fucking better.
Yeah.
Because that dude, like, I get that, like, that dude was way too overpowered to be probably part of the timeline.
Right.
But, like, I'm just saying, like, that whole,
Arc.
like, that whole thing is what kept me in Star Wars. Like, I was
Yeah.
already kind of a Star Wars fan,
Mhm.
like, when I was a kid. But the reason why I considered myself a Star Wars fan as a kid was
Was that
because of that
Unleashed.
fucking game.
Didn't they
Force
make a
Unleashed.
second one?
They made 2, yeah.
Was the second one good?
The second one was good, yeah.
Yeah. Because that was, I think it was the second one came out, and they had the Wii remotes. It was right when the Wii came out. It might have been the first one.
I don't remember.
I feel like
which
one of them you
came
could
out
actually
before.
use like a
Yeah,
remote.
I didn't care for that. I definitely think like the Xbox version was cool. And then like the PC port version.
What about the
was
new
good.
game with
I haven't played that yet, but I heard that one was good.
I bought.
Well, the newest one I heard was kind of like not good for PC.
Yeah.
But like I heard that the game itself, like the storyline and everything, was good. But I haven't played it because I've just kind of fallen off of Star Wars.
I just don't play third persons or free roams or just like those like I can never figure out how to get past the door. Like I suck
Speaking
at
of which, dude, Legend of Zelda
Oh, true.
is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, like it has been, like it's one of those things. Me and the, like 2 of my brothers,
Yeah.
we've all 3 of us bought like the new one, right?
Yep. What's it called? Just for the listener.
Oh shoot,
Legend of Zelda Tears. Something Tears.
Yeah, Tears of Grace.
Tears of
No,
Grace.
Tears of the Kingdom. I'm sorry.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of Grace is
Tears
a
of the
song,
Kingdom.
I think. But anyway,
Yell at Gio in the comments.
yeah, absolutely. Tears of the Kingdom is just like super good. I also should have kept my mouth shut because I went to the midnight release.
That was Thursday into Friday.
Yeah, right. So midnight Friday morning,
Mm-hmm.
I went to do the pre-release, and like first off, when I got there, everyone's in line, everything's cool, whatever. And then I hear, and mind you, I didn't pre-order anything,
Mm-hmm.
but like then, which I might get flack for that, but I've learned. But yeah, I'm sitting there, and then this other guy that's like right in front of me was like, I just want to confirm. No, he came after me. He's right behind me. He's just like, I just want to confirm. Like everyone's here for like the pre-order, right? Like no one's here just to pick up the game. And then I was just sitting there quietly like, oh shit. And then,
Oh, that midnight was a pre-order.
yeah, and then the guy, one of the other guys was like, yeah, no one does. You can't just come in at midnight anymore. It's just pre-order. And I was like, he's like, oh okay, yeah. I just wanted to make sure that wasn't the case. And I'm just sitting there like, oh fuck. I'm not leaving this line.
Yeah. No shit.
It's like, I'm going to see what happens. If they tell me no, I'm going to be like, fuck it. I'll come back tomorrow morning. Right? I get there.
Yeah.
Get to the front. Luckily, one person ahead of me asked, he was like, oh, yeah, I'm not here for the pre-order. I'm just buying it. And they were like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, oh, so I'll be fine. And then and they gave him like the game and then this cutting board. And I was like, oh, do we all get one? And then so I was just.
Cutting board?
Yeah, it's like a cutting board that came with the pre-order.
To...
It's just one that they gave for the pre-orders.
Yeah, but is it in the game? Like, does he?
No, I don't think so.
Are you
a
chef on a certain level?
No, you can. I mean, yeah, you can cook to heal, get like health and
because like
different
Modern
foods
Warfare
will give you different abilities.
Was like one of the first Call of Duties where there were certain maps that were at night and you use like the goggles, like night vision goggles. So if you pre-ordered the ultimate package or whatever, you got like an official like military grade night vision goggles.
Yeah, no, this is just a cutting board. Like, and there was other things you can get.
Was
like
it
if you got
labeled?
Different packages. What?
I just went down to IKEA and just bought a couple cutting boards.
Nah, but like there was like I think that was like the first pre-order. Like if you just pre-ordered, you would get that. But then like there was all the different bundles and stuff
Did you
like
get
that.
the biggest bundle?
No, I didn't pre-order anything.
Oh.
I just went in. And so I went in, and then the guy gave me the game and was prepping to hand me the cutting board too. And I was like, oh, I get one too. And then his, I guess, boss was just like, wait, did you pre-order? And I was like, no. And he goes, then no, you don't get one. And I was like, oh, fuck, I should have just kept my mouth shut.
Yeah.
I was like, but yeah.
Could you have been like, can I pre-order now? And then just.
No, but I tried.
So you did. Dude, that's so sad.
Like I tried pre-ordering when I got in the line and the guy said that, and then it just wouldn't allow me to pre-order unless like it was getting sent to my house, and I was like, oh, fuck off. And so, but yeah, I was the game.
Yeah, you texted me like Thursday. If I am radio silent for 2 days, that is why.
It's not even just 2 days. I've been going ham. Like me and my brothers have just been going so ham, like almost like as a competition, being like, "Hey, where are you at?" Blah blah blah.
Wait,
but we'll
so
also give each
all
other
three
tips.
of you have
our own switches,
and
yeah, one of them's the one that's in Korea right now.
Oh right,
the other
yep.
one, is with me.
Yep.
So like, he has his own switch. I have my switch, and my brother in Korea has his switch. And like, especially me and my brother in Korea will be sitting there like. He'll be like, yo, dude, I found this thing. And I'm just like, oh, shit, how'd you get that? And, like, we'll just, like, go back and forth and then be like, hey, what level are you at? And then, like, we'll give tips on bosses. We'll give tips on different things. Like, if there's, like, little things that, like, he doesn't know, then I'll be like, hey, yo, what I've discovered, like, this, and this. You do that when you're doing this part. And he's like, and then even with me, like, so when you pre-order the game, you could also get an amiibo. And the amiibo would give you a specific skin. Apparently, you can unlock that in the game without the amiibo.
Oh, cool.
And so he was telling me how to do that, and I was like, oh, fucking perfect, because that one skin is the only skin I really care for. But like,
what character is it?
It's Link.
It is Link. Okay.
Yeah, you only play as Link, but like at least where I'm at, I don't think you play as.
But whatever
else.
Skin is like.
The skin is
just aesthetically, like it doesn't give you powers or anything.
I think it's just an armor. Yeah.
Okay, but it's not like a special armor.
I'm sure it gives you a power because that character has a specific power. Like that version of Link has a specific power.
Okay.
It's like the deity Link, and he's just it's from my favorite Legend of Zelda game, so I just want it. Like there's no real reason. Like it's not like it'll be like you need this to finish the game.
Yeah. I
just want it because it's my favorite version of Link.
That is like how I feel about like Modern Warfare and why I do the whole camo grinds.
Yep.
It's just like I don't need it. It doesn't give you any bonus points. You don't get more headshots or anything if you have a gold camo versus a platinum. Like, but I want to be able to be like at the end of the year before the new one comes out, it's like I got that master camo. Like only so many people can say that. My like stats on the game suck. Like I'm bad at the game because I'm like to get all those mastery camos, you have to get certain challenges done with every single weapon, and some weapons fucking suck. But yeah, so I totally get your point. It's the same reason why I always like, even if I'm like, I don't even think I'm going to play this year's Call of Duty, I pre-order and I always get like the ultimate package. I'm like, I want all the skins that like look cool or whatever.
Right. It's just like, there's something about it that it's just like, it's just cool to have.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and there's always something like that in a game that you enjoy. Like, right. Like, so it's one of those things where it's like, you may grind on that one thing for in reality, nothing, but like, it's just like,
It's for you.
It's just for you. And,
Yeah.
And like the enjoyment, like you may never use that thing again. Like there's been
Dude,
times where I'll
don't use any of the camos I've got so far.
yeah, like and there's times where I'll get things in game, like and I'll grind to get them, and then I'll only use them the one time and just have them just to have them.
Right.
Like I'm sure even in like the what's it called, the older games, or you'd get like those specific guns by like putting in cheat codes, but you could unlock them if you got to a certain point of the game. Right, or just even powers like that you'd get at the end of the game.
Yeah,
but you could just also do that with cheat codes. It's like, yeah, you could do the cheat codes.
I hate it.
Oh, I love doing the cheat codes, but
no,
like
I like doing the grind.
But
then I could be like, only I know. Like no one's gonna know. But like,
here's the thing.
I did it.
But here's the thing. Like I enjoy doing the cheat codes to enjoy what it would be like once I grinded and got it.
Oh,
so
you still would go back?
I would still go back and grind. It's just I wanted to see what I'm looking at, like because back in the day it's not like you could just go on YouTube and search up the game.
Right.
You at most you would go on like those game things where they would have like the guides and all that other stuff on the computer, and like sometimes we do that to get the cheat codes or to figure out how to do that or figure out how to get out of certain parts of the game. Which side note, Legend of Zelda, this one me and my brothers had a debate.
Why did we not put you on camera for this episode? I feel like that you've done too much talking for like...
I know, right? But I just got so excited for this game. But I think that this one, I don't know if it's just the fact that like Legend of Zelda games have gotten easier over time, or if it's just the fact that I'm an adult and I know what I'm doing now. But like this is the first time I've not used a single like guidebook or anything like that to help me out in parts where I'm stuck. I'm just like, I'm gonna figure it out, and I figured it out and stuff like that. But I'm also just like, is it because it's easier, or is it because I'm actually a smart adult and not like a child? So
it's probably a little bit of both. Like especially if they're trying to like market it to as many people as possible, they're gonna make it a little easier. Like that's one of the things that like make a lot of sport games so like things I used to love playing. I can't even. I took like 3 years off of FIFA. I bought the last FIFA when it was on like a Cyber Monday sale, and I played it like one game, and I'm like, all these mechanics, like it's cool because they got so much more advanced with like there's so much more you can do, but because I haven't been learning the things, it used to be like 1 button passes. Now it's like 3 buttons passes it to this guy, but 1 button passes it to that. So it's like I can't even figure out like the like a basic mechanic how to like even that. Oh, do we die? Actually, this is a great moment. I have to pee really bad. I wanted to do the wrap up on a clean mind. So, Gio, if you don't mind leaving the road recording, I don't mind if you pause that. A couple seconds for us, couple minutes for us, couple seconds for you guys. Be right back. So, nice smooth little transition after that. That was the worst time to do that.
Was it?
I bet that picked up.
Was it?
I guess
sure
it was the best
time.
Yeah.
It's like a intro. I mean, probably the worst time because I could have done it right when you started to be like that intro boom, but instead of some intro fizz.
You could have used some of the buttons too. Anyways, we're back with it. We're going to jump right into this wrap up. I know it's not the timeliest break, but Gio, what's something in the past week that's made you laugh? Some entertainment, like a YouTube video, a movie, a TV show, stand-up special, anything?
Well, I mean, there's been 2. I mean, well, actually, no, that one was the week before because I watched that new John Mulaney
since
special.
Since the last episode.
I watched the John Mulaney episode and the stand-up special, yeah.
And you liked that.
I thought that was really good.
I've heard some good reviews. I haven't got to it yet.
And then also there's that show I was telling you about, like Uncle from Another World.
Oh, right.
I even got, if you're listening, I got no one into that one.
Hell yeah, no one?
Yeah, and he was loving it too. And I was just like, yeah, because I think I was 1 episode behind, and then he even mentioned something from that episode, and I made a different joke about it. And then afterwards, when I watched the next episode, because I was like, oh, I've been so on Legend of Zelda, I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
Let me get on the next episode. And he caught the joke that he made, and I was like, oh, fuck. I could have done a better joke.
And that's why I don't respond to you, because I'm like, his jokes, whatever he puts in there, are so fun and funny, and I'm like, I want to make sure I say the perfect joke. Like I gotta show off my comedy skills and my wit, and like I want to reference a point of the video or a character and tie it in.
They're about your video.
And then every single time I'm like, I feel like,
what would you have missed? You said it.
well, you just said what I fear I will do is like reply to the joke, miss the joke, and then like say something stupid that's like not as funny or kills the mood or whatever. I mean,
there's a delete button.
Anywho, that show, something Uncle, what is it called?
Oh, Uncle from Another World?
Uncle from Another World. Is that anime or animated?
It's anime.
Anime.
And it's a comedy.
So is it a Japanese anime?
That's anime. All of them are Japanese.
I thought there's like...
For the majority of anime.
What's the Black Samurai one anime? That I thought
Afro
was
Samurai?
Yeah, isn't that like an American anime?
I don't
like anime is kind of like the style.
I don't remember if that one was made by. It's been way too long since that show. I didn't even like. I never looked into it that much. It never really caught my attention, so I'm not too sure. I know it's a classic, but
I don't even know how I like knew that reference. So, possibly wALiE.
Nope, Japanese still.
Okay.
The creator was Takashi Okazaki. No, 6'9". Okazaki, I'm sorry. So still Japanese.
I haven't felt like I found a good like comedy recently. Like I've watched Demon Slayer. I've been spending a lot of time just like hanging out or, just killing time watching like Star Wars or stuff. So I need to get back into catching up on. There's a lot of stand-up specials that have come out in the past couple months that I still need to watch. John Mulaney, Big J. Okerson had one. I think Ryan Sickler has another one that I
think the Big J. Okerson one's okay.
Oh, you did watch it?
Yeah, I did watch it.
Dude,
I watch all the ones of like the people I know or people who I've seen something where I'm like, it was funny.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll branch out and see people who I'm like, I'm not sure of, but for the most part, I have like my comedians that I pick through.
Right.
And I think Big J. Okerson was honestly one of the latter, like I don't really know him, but I'm gonna watch it.
I actually saw him at Comedy Connection in Providence a couple years ago. He was hilarious. His when I saw him live, he did a lot more like crowd work, so he must have been working on new bits. He didn't have a lot of like bits, but like the clips I see of him, he's got a really cool like development of joke structure. But I've also been noticing, like I still watch my podcast. I think the past 2 weeks I've been really busy at work when I'm usually watching my podcast. So it's like I'm doing all my grading, getting caught up, and it's right there. So I'm kind of not giving it enough attention. So I do kind of.
Speaking of which, like I'm pretty sure Jimmy O Yang just came out with a new one too, like on Amazon.
Oh yeah. I think I like could have guessed that because I feel like I've seen him a couple times on like guesting on podcasts, and that's always what you do when you put out a new special.
Yeah, when you're putting out a new anything, you do your tour.
But I've really like a lot of my go-tos. I used to every single week finish Two Bears, One Cave, like watch the whole episode. I feel like the last like 2 or 3, I haven't really like I watched the first 30 minutes and I just don't finish it. Like they're funny, but I don't know. A lot of podcasts have become stale, like a lot of the ones that I have grown with. But one of the ones, and I must have mentioned this on a couple episodes recently, Bad Friends is an all-time amazing podcast. It is Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee.
Yeah. They
are so funny. Their ability to improv and just like build a bit in the moment. Everyone does the yes and like, improv style, and they're telling these stories and they're like, I don't even know what part of this story like it started with, what the elements of truth are, or how crazy it is. And they're on tour now, and I really want to go see them. But as I'm like kind of getting bored of some of my other podcasts, I'm like trying to explore into some new realms. One that I have really enjoyed the past 2 weeks, like watching all the way through, is the TMG, the Cody Ko and Noel Miller. Mm-hmm. Dude, those are some good, like we might have to talk more off air about like that whole style
Dynamic.
because like that dynamic.
Yeah, because I know
is
you
really-
said that you really like them. I'll be honest, like I still have yet to watch an episode
Either.
from them,
the
like or even any of their YouTube. Because don't they have like separate YouTube channels too or something?
oh yeah. So the
They do.
YouTube channel, like I
Like I haven't watched any of their stuff.
I keep recommending Cody to you because of the editing style that his editor does on the short, like his cut reaction videos and all that.
Yeah.
I think it's got the same hint of like what
Weird.
could appear as
quirkiness.
over the top edits, but like so subtly done that they just build hilarity throughout like every moment, whether it's like just an organic pause or it's actually something that Cody Ko said and he just like somehow like amplified it without overshadowing it with his little edit. That's why I recommend that. But the podcast I've been watching a lot more of and I'm like, oh, the types, the style, the flow, I think is really unique. It's a very like chill vibe where it's just like, it really does feel like it's just a couple guys, like a couple good friends, like chilling in the studio. And then they always have the good trendy topics that they're talking about. And they usually have some good bits. Noel Miller is touring. I think he'll probably record a special after, like when he's done with his tour.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And
Which is, I think, literally the only thing I've ever watched of either of them is when he was on Flagrant.
Yeah. And he's fun. I'm actually really excited for that. But another thing that makes you laugh, makes most people laugh, and also makes a lot of people the most feared that they've ever been, are clowns. I don't know why. But I haven't really thought about that. Like, I've always been pretty neutral about clowns. Like, I don't care. I can see how people are scared of them. I can see what their utility was and, like, you know, the purpose of a clown, how they could be funny, scary, etc. But I've never heard such a well broken down clown argument than my main man, our former intros, Napoleon. This is a longer one. That's why we're doing it at the end today. But are you ready for this? Yeah, well, we got to get the headphones on. You ready? You ready? You ready?
No.
No.
Oh, let me get this straight right now. I've always wanted to make this video. There are people, which is well within their right, they're dressing up as clowns and they're in the woods, whatever. They're not bothering nobody. They're doing their own thing. They're not harassing nobody. But then a couple of self-righteous, hypocritical, larger than they think they truly fucking are human beings calls the police on them. For what? No, for what? Because they dress it up as clowns? As a clown. They dress up as a clown. We're talking about clowns here. We're not talking about deers. We're not talking about rhinos. We're not talking about crocodiles. We're talking about clowns. No, clowns. So people feel, which is well within their right, I guess, that they can call the police on these people. They're not bothering nobody, mind you. They're not harassing nobody. They're just minding their own business. They're just dressing up as clowns. You know what? Fuck you. I've always wanted to say this in this video. I always wanted to make a video like this.
Welcome.
Fuck you to those people who call the police on those clowns. Those clowns have feelings too. You self-righteous, hypocritical human beings. Shame on you.
Shame on you.
With that, have a nice day.
Okay, wait. There's a lot that I wanted to, I could piece apart every single word
I usually
he
don't
says.
want to be on camera, but this is one of those moments where I'm just like, I wish they could just see how I'm staring at you.
Yeah. Dude, okay. This is such a, like, unthought of. No one in their daily life thinks about how people call cops on clowns. He is so heated and opinionated about this thing, while simultaneously saying they're well within their rights to call the cops, but they're and gets so mad, but it also, like, clarifies, it's okay that you do that, but why? And
my thing is, where does the hypocrisy come in?
I think he knows some big words, and I don't think he was using hypocrisy right, because you're not being a hypocrite if you're scared of a clown and you call the cops. Like, you don't like clowns, that's not hypocrisy. Clowns, I think his whole point is like clowns aren't supposed to be scary. I think that's the general direction. But when he's trying to like argue against why these people are calling the cops, he says rhinos and crocodiles. Like, I get it. If you're like, if I'm walking around, Massachusetts forest and I see a rhino, I'm calling the cops, because what the fuck is a rhino doing? It's probably escaped the zoo or something. Like, that thing could kill you. If I could call a cop to help me defend from a rhino, yeah, crocodiles, no shit. That probably is a common occurrence in like Florida. But the first one he says, we're not talking about deers. Who the fuck calls the cops when they see a deer? Most people go, I want to be extra quiet. I want it to run away on me. The only time you call a cop because of a deer is when you hit it on the road and your car is totaled.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he just justified. So in arguing against calling cops,
I guess maybe a reindeer, but
calling cops on clowns
different.
because clowns are just supposed to be funny. He says, but I get it if you call cops on deers. I think he's the hypocrite that he's referring to, right?
Yeah. Where does this guy live?
Oh, it's definitely New York, I think. New Jersey, maybe.
Oh, well then, if that's the case, he doesn't get to deal with
Deers,
none of those.
Yeah, deers are just...
if a deer shows up in New Jersey or New York in the middle of the, I get calling the cops, I guess, because like they shouldn't be there.
Not really. I mean,
Could
most
you
of
imagine
New York, not like
No,
not
I'm
the
saying
city.
I'm not talking like outskirts of New York. Like I'm not talking like not New York. Like I'm talking like Manhattan. If you're in Manhattan, just walking around and a deer just shows up, you probably should call the cops to help get that deer back home.
Right. Out of courtesy.
Yeah, out of courtesy, because he's a long way.
But not out of fear. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, out of fear of maybe hitting it.
Yeah.
Or someone hitting it.
All right. Well, Gio, thanks again. Potentially named Willie. Comment down below if you have some other suggestions. My other walrus names I've given are Russell and Walter. Russell Wallace, Walter, Willie. Let us know. What do you think? I really like Willie, but Studio Walrus needs a name. And I want you guys to help me figure out Willie's, the walrus, the walrus name. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in, watching, all the things. Gio, thanks again. Big time help.
Of course.
Peace. Let that play all the way through and let the cameras go.